We are the co-founders of Focus Life Force Energy, or FLFE. I'm Jeffrey Stegman.
And I'm Clayton Stedman.
Welcome to the FLFE community. Glad to have you with us. You're here either on free trial or as a new FLFE subscriber. Clayton and I are consciousness explorers, and we have been working on the FLFE technology since, Clayton, was it 2011 or so?
Yeah, I think the first time we visited the inventor was 2009, and then we started working on it around 2011. Yeah.
In 2012, we started worldwide service projects. That was our original intention with the technology. Once we realized that we could raise consciousness or activate a consciousness field anywhere in the world, we spent 2012 raising consciousness. That was quite a process, Clayton. We had Google Maps and very early FLFE technology where we were writing on cards. And
yeah, I call those the good old days. Writing on 3x5 cards, putting them into the high consciousness field in the machine, and having it associate with that area of the planet. That was typically it was the critical factor in a geographical area. That's the area where if you put the least amount of effort in, you'd get the most amount of gain.
Yeah, so we went all through 2012 using the FLFE technology to raise consciousness. And yeah, we were together almost every day towards the end of the year.
Yeah, there was a big incentive for many people to do what they could before December 21st, 2012, because of the Mayan calendar influence. So we were doing our part, and turned out okay between all of us contributing. And probably a more accurate interpretation of the prophecy would not have included the possibilities that many of us were deeply concerned about.
And we got to the end and we just celebrated like, wow, that was a cool project. We got to zoom around the earth on Google Earth and find the low consciousness spots using kinesiology or muscle testing, and to support those to rise. And we said, well, that was cool. What are we going to do now? And the idea came through to create the FLFE business where anyone could do the same thing we did, basically put their property on the service, raise consciousness. And from the very beginning, we had a PIF, or pay it forward, where each person who becomes a subscriber could put anywhere on the planet on the service. And that was, kind of a continuation of our service work that we did during that year.
We still do a lot of service projects. We have given historically about 95% of the energy from the technology away. It varies from time to time, depending on if we start a new project or do an upgrade to the technology. So we're still very active in giving back to the world. And there are lots of service projects that we have on our website that you can explore, and we're open to new ones as we continue to grow.
Yeah, we see that rising in consciousness is increasing freedom. That's how we tend to look at it. It might be freedom from your own patterns of belief or habits that might cause you suffering at times. And it seems, more joy, more ability to just enjoy life, all parts of life. Just more and more. That's how I feel about it. Like yesterday, I went out on the porch and all the birds were chirping and the chipmunks were running around, and I was just happy to be alive. And that bubble, the FLFE environment, has been important to people over the past couple of years. So as consciousness explorers, we invite you also to our podcast, Fields of Consciousness.
So we do mention several service projects on the website. It's only a small percentage of the ones that we're actually doing, as we like to keep many of them private.
And many ideas for the service projects have come from FLFE customers. So we welcome your input, and we really want to thank all FLFE customers for making this service work possible. We wouldn't have the resources to do it if we didn't have the FLFE community supporting us with their subscriptions and with their ideas, and our staff. We have an amazing group of people in Nelson, BC, Canada, and around the world in different places. And those people are ready to talk to you as a free trial or as a customer. We have over 90 hours of customer service time where you can call in the office and actually speak to a real person. And we know this is rare for most subscription services, but along with the PIF or pay it forward service work, from the very beginning, customer service was really important to us. To have to go on an internet service and not be able to reach someone and not be able to have a conversation was really important to us from the very beginning, Clayton.
Yeah, we had other businesses before we started FLFE, and in our conversations as we were exploring whether or not to do this, we made a list of, what would we want to have in a business if we were to do it, and extraordinary customer service with real people, not just chats or emails that you don't get a reply to for sometimes days or weeks. That wasn't something we wanted to do. And we do have live community webinars with us, and we get a chance to talk to all of our customers regularly. And even if you're not a subscriber, you can come on those if you join our online community. And that's all on the website where to connect with that. So it's nice to start a business without needing it to work right away. So that was the luxury we had at the time.
So let's talk a little bit about what is the FLFE service. At its core, just like the service work we did during 2012, it's the activation of a high consciousness field or environment. And in case of the service, it's in a home, in a business, around a cell phone, or around an object. And that's really anywhere in the world.
Yes, and the way we measure the influence of this high consciousness field in many ways. One of the primary ways is the Hawkins scale of consciousness. If you look up Dr. David Hawkins, you'll come across his probably most popular book, Power versus Force. In there, he describes a scale of consciousness, or a map, and he describes the protocols in the back of the book on how to measure consciousness. So the FLFE service is in the universal love or unconditional love zone on the map of consciousness. And we'll talk a lot more about the kind of standardized 3D world research a little later on.
So the FLFE service is activated through the website. You may have already done that, being on the free trial or as a subscriber, and it happens instantaneously or nearly instantaneously. So there is not a machine sent to the location. There's not anything you have to do. Once you sign up, the FLFE service is quantumly associated with your property or with your cell phone or object, and it's activated. The field activates, it creates a bubble or an environment around your phone or object, or that encompasses your entire property up to your boundaries. So once it gets activated, that's primary part of the FLFE service, is that high consciousness field. Yeah, as Clayton said, it's in the love zone. In the 550 is on the Hawkins map, is where the service starts. There's a slider. You can take it up to 570 at the time we've made this webinar. And that's really in the unconditional love zone, which really people say feels good. It feels great to me. I haven't been in an environment without the FLFE service probably since we started, Clayton.
Yeah, it gets to be something that you don't want to be without. At least that's my experience. I did try one day without it last weekend, which is the first time in I don't know how long, and the world wasn't quite as bright. So it's a good experiment to turn it on and off, which you can do on the control panel. Once you've started your free trial, after we've tested your property, you can turn the service on and off. You can turn the EMF mitigation on and off. And as Jeff said, you can slide or use the slider, the consciousness slider in the control panel to experiment with the fields of consciousness that the technology supports. So you get to be your own consciousness researcher.
And those really are the principles of FLFE, the service work, the customer service, and the control in your hands in that control panel. So be sure to look at that early email and find that way to access your control panel. And yeah, check it out. Be your own consciousness researcher. It's an important part of our ethic that you're in control of the service there as on the free trial or as a FLFE customer. And research is an important part of the FLFE service. So we'll get more into the research later. There's quite a lot of research that we do and continue to do. I want to talk about the programs a little bit, or the information in that's also in the field, kind of beyond the consciousness level, Clayton.
Yeah, so we have a high consciousness energy field that is certainly potent in its own right. And it's when you sign up for the service, everything is set up for you. You don't need to turn things on and off or run a screen or choose things manually. There's a whole complete setup. You just have to turn it on. Within this field, there is information. And we typically refer to this as request to divinity. So now the high consciousness field works in tandem with your innate intelligence to support your evolution. And these requests to divinity focus on topics such as creating better communication between the people in the field, having the people in the field have a positive intent towards each other. So there's many different requests to divinity that are very specific and very well sort of articulated to support that environment to have the best chance of supporting the evolution of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes EMF mitigation, as we've mentioned before. We discovered that the energetic essence of shungite is an excellent, or probably the best material that we've found, or the best energetic signature or essence that we've found to harmonize EMFs. We typically focus on the term consciousness lowering EMFs, because our specialty is measuring consciousness with kinesiology as taught by Dr. David Hawkins in the back of Power versus Force and his other books. So we also, we also include the opportunity to turn that on and off, as we said earlier, so that you can really have the experience for yourself of the difference in that environment, with it activated and with it off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this additional information or benefits that come out that are added to the field, we call those programs, kind of by topic. As Clayton mentioned, the EMF mitigation is one of those. Relationships is another, as we've said, and supportive brain function is another. So the FLFE energy is composed of, this high consciousness field. There's additional life force energy there available to the body and available to the innate intelligence, as we've said. Our body knows what to do with this additional life force energy. And, one of the programs is to direct life force energy to the parts of our brain that need it the most, that have the lowest energy. And so parents see that with their kids, more energy for homework at night. We've heard that numerous times. People tell us they just tend to not need that afternoon coffee or afternoon nap because they just have more energy during the day. So that is an example of one of these programs that supports us on the cognition side. And again, it's the innate intelligence does the work. We're just providing the raw materials and the information for the innate intelligence to do its thing.
We also have a lot of families on the service who were looking for sort of a lower cost option for the children and other people who are just on a little bit more of a budget. So we do have a lower cost option. We call it Smarter EMF. It includes all the health programs and the EMF mitigation, of course. So we're trying to be conscious of everybody's financial resources. And our flagship service right now is $35 a month US.
And included in that price, and as we said, there's over 20 different programs, and we've mentioned a lot of those. And one of the ones that people really seem to appreciate is support for meditation, where that being able to sit quietly and have the brain quiet down more easily is one of the things that happens in a high consciousness field. Other people have felt that the support of their immune system is there, and they have less colds and less flus and so forth.
We also do consistent upgrades. All of our services continuing to improve, and future upgrades to the service you subscribe to include many free upgrades. In the past, some of our upgrades have included, EMF mitigation. We just didn't know what material to use in the environment to help with EMFs. We've included the meditation service to include the alignment of chakras as we're meditating. We've included upgrades to the different parts of the brain. And in terms of those requests to divinity or programs that Jeff mentioned, the more research we do on how different functions of the body work together, we can make those requests to divinity. And really, it's just supporting the innate intelligence of the body to do its work. And we do find that these specific requests do support the body, but we don't make any medical claims, and we acknowledge that the body's innate intelligence is really the best healer.
And many of our upgrades and improvements have come from subscribers. So we love hearing from you. The webinars, as we mentioned, are something that we do on a regular basis, and it's a way for us to connect together. But you can call into the office anytime. You can talk to anyone there, and you'll have someone assigned to you that can help you with, things related to your service, but to also to send messages to us about things that you see, maybe improvements to the FLFE service, or, as we said, service projects.
At FLFE, we're committed to multiple ways of proving the effect of a high consciousness field. And we always encourage you to trust yourself first. And we have invested heavily in many different types of research. This is more Jeff's realm as he runs the research group. So why don't I pass it over to you, Jeff, and you can talk about some of the ongoing research that we are engaged in.
Mhm. Yeah, we have a wide variety of research projects that we've done and that are ongoing now. And those topics include activating the FLFE field in a Faraday cage with random number generators at the Institute of Noetic Sciences. We also did brainwave changes in the FLFE environment that looked at also the cognition, the functioning of the brain at ions. It's a preliminary study. And we've also looked at the EMF mitigation. How does the FLFE service mitigate EMFs, and why do people feel better? We used the GDV camera for those studies, and we have two of those on the research page. And then we've also completed an EMF sensitive study where we went to a group of EMF sensitives, people that are sort of self-identified as being really sensitive to the electromagnetic fields and frequencies around all of us. And, that showed the effect of the FLFE service. We have multiple plant research studies that we've done, including a relatively large commercial farm. And in that case, we saw a 22.9% increase in yield. This is in wheat, organic wheat. And this was a 22.9% increase in yield in bushels per acre over the control acres. So these multiple plant studies are important because there's no placebo effect there. The last two of the plant studies were blinded. So the people conducting the study didn't know where the FLFE area was located. So we work with respected researchers at different research institutions like IONS, and also at major universities. So, we invite you to visit the evidence page on the FLFE website and check it out. And it continues to evolve. So come back and check it often.
Now, if you're watching this, you may be on our free trial. And people ask us, why do you give away a free trial? And why don't you ask for a credit card? Well, as I said, when we started this business, we looked at how would we like to be treated. And I signed up for things online, forgotten to cancel them, and ended up paying. And we didn't want people to have that. So to have that experience. So we have this free trial. It's 2 weeks long. There's no credit card needed. We do need enough information to create a unique identifier. The unique identifier is an address, location with latitude, longitude, a picture if it's an object, or your cell phone number if you want to use that as your object. So you have to work a little bit to become a subscriber. We wanted to make it that way. You need to sign up for the free trial, and then you actually need to sign up again for the service. Somebody will probably contact you during the free trial to check on your experience. And you'll find that those people are really there to serve you. And we've got quite a large staff of people that are really spiritual devotees in their own way. And I think that's why we all work together well, is we do want to create an environment where people can evolve. So you don't have to worry about adding a credit card. There's no surprise bill at the end. There's nothing to cancel. It's free, and we want to share with you the blessings that we've received from this technology and the service. Sure. So while you're on the free trial, you're getting a full service. It's not a watered down version. It's the flagship service, if that's what you're trying. You're getting everything that you would get as a subscriber.
And that would be either on your home or around your cell phone. So we're activating the field around a cell phone. So it's your choice between those two, and they're both the flagship, full boat, the full field strength, and all of the programs.
And we also have business subscriptions for you business owners out there. And we have nonprofit subscriptions as well with reduced rates to help the nonprofits.
And I would mention about that phone call we talked about, someone calling while you're on the free trial. And I would encourage you to talk with them and to not worry that they're there to sell you or to, close the deal. As Clayton said, they're really there to support your evolution and to answer any questions you have about the service or about what's going on for you in this high consciousness field, because we can change rapidly. Things can happen. And on the path of increased freedom, sometimes it can get a little bit messy along the way. And, it's great to have someone to talk to. And so that's why the staff reaches out, the free trial team, because they've talked to, hundreds of people like you, and they really can help you. So I encourage you to talk with them when they give you a call.
So what might you expect during the free trial? More joy, feelings of ease and flow, deeper connections with other people and yourself, support for creative and spiritual pursuits, energy to do many of the things you might have been putting off. You might find it easier to forgive yourself and others, and you may find it easier to control or cancel negative thoughts.
Yeah, I really hear the ease and flow part of that. And that's been a big one for myself as well, as just getting into the zone of creativity, of work, even reading, some enjoyable book. I find in the FLFE environment that ease and flow of whatever I'm doing is really supported. And the forgiveness, as you mentioned, Clayton, is another one where people find it easier. And I've experienced that as well. And it just seems, it's almost like the FLFE field is like it's like a trampoline, right? We can go lower, we can stub our toes and get upset, and but we have to work harder at staying in those negative states because we tend to bounce back up. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things people experience during the free trial, is that sort of, hitting those lows at times, but bouncing back up more easily, especially in relationships with each other in the field, in the environment, and in our own zone.
Different people experience the FLFE service to different degrees. Some people notice it in their plants before they notice it in themselves. Other people notice it in their pets. The pets are calmer or more relaxed. Maybe the dogs or the cats get along better with each other. Plants, sometimes the plants bloom for longer periods of time, or cut flowers might last half again as long as they usually would, or twice as long. There's typically a newfound level of harmony in the household. Some people find an increased capacity and interest in organizing, removing old clutter. That's an interesting one to observe. We've had a few funny conversations with spouses who put the service on and didn't tell their partners, and all of a sudden the person's wanting to clean more. So that's a good story to share. And there's lots of testimonies on the website, so encourage you to go and look at what other people have experienced.
Yeah, the biggest miracle is teenagers cleaning their rooms.
Yeah, spontaneously. Yeah, that's definitely a miracle. We invite you to join the FLFE online community. We have almost 10,000 members to discuss your experience, and you'll find information about that on the emails that you receive or on our website at any time. We do have real customer support for you to discuss questions, as we've mentioned before. We have dozens of people on staff, and that'll continue to grow as the company grows. So you can talk to a real live person.
So join us. You could visit the free trial page if you are not currently a subscriber on the free trial, and activate your 15-day gift. And remember, you may feel it just within seconds. Some people can feel it in their bodies right away. Many people have different responses. As Clayton said, some may have their pets see it in their pets first. But you are your own consciousness researcher. We put the tools in your hands, and you can begin observing and seeing what occurs for you. Expect surprises and let us know what happens for you. You can reach out to the staff through a phone call, or an email, or join us on the webinar once a quarter.
Just a reminder to stay hydrated during the free trial to optimize the experience. Most doctors recommend that you drink about half your body weight in ounces of water. So we think that's a good place to start. So if you're 150 pounds, at 75 ounces of water a day. Hydration is important in a high consciousness field because the body's innate intelligence gets activated when there's extra energy available, and it starts to do all the things that it does just on its own.
Thank you for joining us today. We're glad to have you with us on this journey in the FLFE community. We wish for you a life full of freedom, joy, and love.